are going away this year, and if it's going to be Aetna's Smart Fit plan or the Premier plan, or if it's going to be Humana plans from their 3450 deductible plan, there's going to be a lot of plans that are going to be gone this year. I know we briefly talked about it before. That does give somebody a guaranteed issue if they wanted to do a Medicare supplement plan G. Now, I will let people know, people are asking, well, you know, are they going to need a copy of that letter? Yes. You will need to get a copy of that letter. So if somebody says, when you're going out there this fall, and they want to do a med sup for January, with a guaranteed issue, they're going to ask for a copy of that letter every single time. So I would just take a picture right there with your cell phone to get a copy of that letter, make sure you got it, because they will ask for that. You also can only do that med sup 60 days either side of when that event is happening. That means you cannot write that until at least November. So a lot of people are going to try to go out here in October and think you can do it now for January. You cannot. It is a 60-day period. You have up to 60 days after they lose coverage in January for that to also happen. After that 60-day window on either side, it's no longer a guaranteed issue, back into the old thing. Now, because of that also, if for some reason somebody doesn't realize their coverage is gone and they get into January and go get a drug at a pharmacy in January and find out it's gone, you do have also until February 28th to do that special enrollment. So again, you do have 60 days on both sides of it. So that way, because I know something's going to happen, fall through the cracks somewhere that somebody's not going to know. They didn't get that letter. They didn't talk to you, and they're going to find out their coverage is gone. So you still have time. It does get a special enrollment, not only for that med sup, but also for a Medicare Advantage for 60 days after.
That also includes Sumter County where United Health was leaving.
Yes. But again, they're going to get a letter saying your plan is not renewing for next year. You do need a copy of that letter. No, if they're just going to another Medicare Advantage, you don't need a copy of that letter. But only if going to a Medicare supplement. But I know some people wanted to go back and write a Medicare supplement in October. You cannot. It's only 60 days prior to that event. That event is happening on December 31st at midnight when they lose their coverage. So that's the event date and time. So 60 days either way, so November 1st, all the way through February 28th is your enrollment period if somebody's wanting a Medicare supplement off of the Medicare Advantage going away. Again, if it's an MA plan you're going back to, it doesn't matter because you're going to have your AEP. If you miss it and it was December 15th they called you, fine, you can use it as the SCP at that point too for January, and that's fine. So we're essentially going to have an enrollment time for any of your people losing coverage all the way through the end of the year and all the way through next March for MAPD. So you have essentially 5.5 months of that. So that's fine. Yes?
So just to make sure, the 60-day grace period can start in November for those who are losing plans, correct?
That's your SCP date. Again, only if you were wanting to get a Medicare supplement, it was really for that SCP date.
Okay, so not Medicare Advantage, only something.
Medicare Advantage, you can write October 15th, it doesn't matter.
Got it, okay, got it. Thank you.
Yeah. And since we're on that, that's your SCP. Obviously, the AEP, which is the annual enrollment, is October 15th to December 7th. You are allowed to talk to them right now about the plans. You can get scope signed. You can talk about the plans. You cannot take an enrollment application or submit an enrollment application until next Tuesday the 15th. Next Tuesday the 15th, you can submit whatever you want. Even if you have to send plans to the client to sign off on, you can do it on the 15th and be good at that. And that goes all the way until December 7th. That's the end of the annual enrollment period. You normally have a blackout time unless people are losing that coverage from December 8th to December 31st. And then the open enrollment period from January 1st to March 31st. During the open enrollment period, it's not the same as the annual enrollment period. Annual enrollment period, you can put somebody into a Medicare Advantage plan as many times as you need to. The last one is always going to be the last one. It's going to stick for the annual enrollment. somebody next week, you put them into an Aetna plan, the primary PPO, didn't realize the $50 specialist copay, they call you and say, hey, I heard about this plan called Devoted, I really want to have that plan. You can go back in November, sign up for the Devoted. Devoted's one's going to take place in January because it was the last one in. Open enrollment period is different. Open enrollment period is really for, oh, I made a mistake, my doctor's not in the network, oh, I didn't know that MUSC wasn't going to take Humana, and so I need to make one last change. Once they make that change in open enrollment period, they are done for the year. Okay? Simple rundown. All right, Matt, you want to start? Matt and Cheryl spent a lot of time putting these books together.
Yes, by the way, thank you.
I think let's pick up on, you just mentioned Humana's not with MUSC. I think everybody is aware of that. So can we just go right into providers then?
So, very simply, if you kind of want to look at the plans that you have in there, Aetna does have every hospital in South Carolina in the network right now. I will tell you that the Aetna plans, obviously, losing some of the plans this year is going to put a bad taste in some people's mouths. I know some people really like the Aetna plans. Your biggest change for the Aetna plans for next year is besides their primary PPO, with the higher specialist copay, they are lowering a little bit on the ancillary benefits, but the rest of the benefits are fairly decent without a drug deductible. That's going to be your biggest thing this year is fighting these drug deductibles, and finding people on these higher medications that are going to hit those deductibles of $300, $400, $500 depending on their plans. In Beaufort County, you're going to run into, and they don't have an Aetna plan that doesn't have a premium. So in Beaufort County, you're going to run into a bigger issue down there on carriers. So we found out there's only 3 main carriers down there in Beaufort County. Aetna, United Healthcare, and Clover. Humana pulled most of their plans out of there. All they have is a give back plan down there. But if you remember, the give back plan has that big deductible on it. So it may not work well. A lot of those things on here are on these highlights at the beginning of your book. The reason why I kind of made that, to make it kind of the cheat sheet, make it a little bit easier.
Guys, talking about the Beaufort market, I did have Scott look up. I know Clover's new to most of us in here. Clover does have Beaufort, Hilton Head, and the Savannah hospital systems in network. So I feel like that's pretty big down there for the Bluffton, Hilton Head, Beaufort folks that Savannah's not too far, and some of them have doctors down in that network.
Okay, so definitely on that. And then, you want to look at some of the things I started looking at is plans that don't have a drug deductible on. You're only running into a couple of carriers that have that. And mainly you're looking at the Clover Devoted, that doesn't have deductibles on there. And Cigna across the board. Aetna also doesn't have drug deductibles on a lot of their plans. So again, if you just kind of, when you're going through Medicare Center, if you're looking at and comparing, I've already looked and compared at least 25 or 30 people's drugs and medications and doctors and things. And the no deductible plans really are coming out a lot, especially if somebody's taking a tier 3 or 2. If you're taking 3 or 4 of them, it doesn't really matter. It's going to all wash out at the end of the year. But if you're not hitting that max amount of pocket, you only have 1 tier 3 medication. The ones with 0 deductible, it's really coming out a lot better situation for them. So you don't want to be blind to it. You want to put all their doctors and medications in to make sure going over the plans is really in your best, what's going to be in their best interest for them at the end of the day. The lowest out-of-pocket plan, max out-of-pocket, I know some people are going to lose that Humana plan. That was $3,450. There is not one $3,450. It is the Cigna PPO, which is $3,900. So for somebody in that market around here that had that $3,450, that Cigna plan may be a pretty decent fit for them. Cigna does have Roper and MUSC both in the network. Cigna is has a pretty good plan on there. So if you're losing people on that plan for that reason, that may be a good go-to for that. I will also say on the MA only plans,
Well, it has a premium on, it, right? That's the one.
No. The 3,900, there's not.
I thought she said this.
No, I will double check here, but I'll be there.
I'll check that.
Yeah, we'll get there in a second. The MA only give back plan.
That one's got a $22 per day.
Oh, is it $22 premium? Okay. For the 3,900, it's a $22 premium. The MA only give backs. There are a couple of, I think, nicer ones this year. You do have the Humana still there. It did go down a little bit to $140 from $150 this year, but you do have the Devoted, it went up to $160. That's pretty cool. You also have the Cigna MA only plan. We don't really think about that too much, but it's kind of a pretty nice MA give back plan also at $150. So you've got a few good options, and then United Healthcare goes in at $125. So you've got quite a few MA only plans that are fairly, and some pretty good benefits in there. Again, we may want to think about looking at different benefits on that. Dual plans, I still think United Healthcare is pretty strong in the dual plan. Obviously, unless you're in Sumter County, because it's not something right.
Nope,
Nope.
but Aetna is.
Yeah, but you have Aetna dual there. The United Healthcare dual, they do have 2 dual plans this year. So be careful that you're making sure that people are in the right one. They do have one that has a bigger food and over-the-counter card than the other one. But the other one does have a lot more on the dental and vision. But you've got to remember, if they're on a dual plan, you can use the Medicaid dental also. So if somebody chooses to take the bigger one, which was what, 200 and
79.
yeah, $279 a month. You still, and they're just getting their teeth cleaned and no major dental things. They can still use the Medicaid dental too and still get the full $279. Now, if somebody says, "Hey, I'm gonna really need some teeth, some mouth work this year, or whatever," you may want to go down to the 234 plan, or whatever, and then have the bigger dental on that too. So you just gotta kind of look at them side by side and see what's going to be really in their best interest.
Guys, the Medicaid dental's $1,000 a year is what they have, okay? And it's really for like preventative stuff, so you can get cleanings done, you can do fillings, but anything that's gonna be like major work, they're not gonna cover.
You said the Medicaid dental is
The
done?
Medicaid dental, they'll use their Healthy Connections card for that.
So if they're on they want the 279, and they want to go to the dentist, they can still use their Medicaid part of it for that, up to $1,000.
The Medicaid year runs July 1st through June the 30th. So they can use it the first 6 months, term it resets July 1st.
Yeah, that is a good point. I did not tell you that, we looked it up, but it is a weird time frame of running it.
So
Fiscal year, not calendar year.
in actuality, if they time it right, they could probably have about $2,000 in dental. But it's still not gonna cover major work.
Okay. MAPD with givebacks. I may be partial on this one, but I do really like the devoted one. The devoted giveback is a full giveback pretty well on there, but it's 0 deductible and medical. That was the biggest problem that we had with the Humana before, is you had the giveback, but you still had the $500 deductible if you went and did an MRI or a CT scan or an outpatient surgery. The devoted giveback, you don't have that deductible. So I do like that. And you do have Cigna's got a pretty decent giveback too.
But now, on that
There's
devoted
no
plan,
OTC with devoted though, right?
on the,
What's that?
Across the board, there's no OTC benefit with devoted.
No, but devoted on most of their plans except for the giveback, they give you a food/OTC card.
Say that one more time?
On their regular PPO plan and regular HMO plan, they give you a food/OTC card monthly. But we'll get there in a minute. What's that? Okay. HRA bonuses. HRAs are pretty much to be gone this year. There's only a few companies that are doing HRAs. United Healthcare is only Devoted is the only, well, Devoted and Cigna are the only two across the board you get an HRA. Devoted is $50 no matter what. Cigna is gonna be 125, or up to 125 on a regular plan, up to 175 on the dual plan. And Clover is only on the MA only plan. And I didn't say that on there, I just found this out late last night. That Clover is only on the MA only plan.
Guys, the Cigna one, when Scott said it was up to $25, there's a couple things that's gonna trigger that to get you all the way up to that 125. That's gonna be that you have to add a primary care physician in with the application, and you also have to provide them their email address. That will get you the full 125.
But if you enroll 10 of those with the HRA, that's actually $1,250.
So if they don't have an email address and they just can give you the primary care, that's $30 extra on top of the $75 regular. And then if they provide the email's an additional 20.
They don't have the email?
If they don't have email, use it, ask them if they know a family member that has an email address.
Yeah, look, a niece or a daughter or somebody's got an email address, because they're gonna wanna get copies of what you're doing anyway, so.
Or just use Scott.
Yeah.
No, I get enough emails, thank you. Okay, so we're not gonna spend a lot of time because I know you guys can all read these too, and hopefully you spend some time going through it a little bit. But what I found out so far is here locally on Aetna, their primary PPO is gonna be kind of their, I think one you're gonna use more often here, if you're not doing an LAS plan or a dual plan. Their primary PPO is a zero premium, zero deductible plan. It is kind of what their premier plan was without the co-pays on the specialist go to 50 instead of 30. And you do lose a little bit on your dental and vision on that. But they still do have the over the counter. They do have all the hearing, your rest of your benefits on that. I do think some people that you're gonna see migrating to that plan if they go like that now. I've already talked to a handful of people that are gonna wanna stay with that plan. So that's gonna be kind of your, I think your plan that you'll be great here. If we're not getting into the extra help plan, which is the Value Plus PPO, the last one, that's your extra help plan. And again, that one will be kind of popular for this year.
Scott, what is that,
So the value plus
the Medicare primary PPO and the Medicare Premier? What's the difference between the two? Like, why?
The Premier's not, the Premier's only in those counties, look at the counties.
Right, I
The
got that.
primary's down here, so unless you're gonna be in those counties, which you might be up in Williamsburg, but most of them are gonna be up in the upstate.
Yeah, okay.
So it just won't come up very often unless you're in those counties.
And if you're using
Scott, I have a
Medicare Center, it's
question.
gonna eliminate that one.
What's that?
If you're using Medicare Center, it's not gonna allow you to see the primary if you're in a county that.
That's
doesn't
correct,
exist.
that's correct.
Everybody should be using Medicare Center.
That is correct. This is just really more of a quick cheat sheet for you when you're there, so that you'll see them in the Medicare Center. And I know when 45 plans come up, and you just wanna see the Aetna ones, I mean, you'll see it pretty quickly, but yes.
I have a question on the primary. So this one right here, if they have the certain illnesses, you get extra benefits. That $50 goes down to $10 for the specialist. You can also get extra money, up to $75 for healthy benefits, healthy food, a quarter.
That was not on the primary one, though.
That's on the Medicare primary.
Right, the primary plan is pretty much the new plan they just came out this year.
Right, this is the one that has all the different chronic things.
Okay,
But I had a question on the supplements, you still get the $35 on top of the $75 every quarter for the over-the-counter benefits?
the original benefits are what you get, the regular over the counter, that's not gonna change no matter what.
So you get that, so then if you qualify, let's say if you have dementia, for example, with this plan, you get,
Do you know which plan that's on?
Which one
what's the number on
The
it?
Medicare primary plan, the
That first one.
85521-500.
Alright,
There's nothing to do with health questions on that. I don't think.
Yeah.
Fit-
So
let me
if you
see
say
what
that they
you're
have chronic illness, those benefits will actually be better.
Or you, I mean, it's, or we didn't know.
Right,
Those are
is
front
it
and back.
something else? Is it on this plan though?
Yes, the new plan.
Okay.
Anything that they would get through this extra is gonna be on top of whatever the base benefits are.
Okay.
Was that your question?
Where did you get that from?
On the
What-
evidence of coverage, on Medicare Center.
Yeah, if there's a $30 extra quarterly
So
benefit.
the main question, I guess, is, we can talk about it later,
The 2017 brochure,
No,
That's the
they talk about this extra specialty benefits, it's $30 a quarter if you do qualify for it.
but he was saying specialist copay's been on $10.
yeah,
That's huge.
Specialist copay goes on the $10, right here.
We need to write that one.
They have to self-attest in the Aetna when they get their new plan for next year in order to get that lower or the extra benefit package part of it. It is a supplemental, so it does not change the 75 or the 45.
what is the, what are the qualifying conditions?
There's a whole list, yeah.
How
It's
do
on there.
we just get it off the Medicare Center, or you guys gonna give it to us?
It's in the booklets too.
Did Steve not go over this when he came here?
He did go over it,
Is this the SSDCI benefit?
but that was the very first one. And it is a little bit confusing because it's a $50 specialist copay unless you attest that you have that special conditions. Alright,
Yeah, we'll call today on that.
we'll clarify on that
We'll
too.
clarify, yeah.
Steve did go over it. But it's not spelled out very well, even on the Medicare Center. Alright, then you got your D-SNP plans. They do have a PPO and the HMO, obviously the HMO is gonna be a little bit stronger, on the monthly benefit than the PPO. And on, there's the benefits on there. Alright, so let's go in. Blue Cross, I'm not gonna go over because we're not really gonna run into it too often. If you do, you can kind of go over your benefits and see where it's gonna get in. Cigna. Cigna is gonna be, I think, especially locally, they are one of the few that do have Roper and MUSC both in the network. It's one that was only in Charleston County, but now it's expanded. It does have Dorchester, Colleton, you're gonna run into it, more often now in Berkeley. You will run into more often. Their give back plan, $150 is pretty strong. On their courage plan, which is the first one. And besides, their give back, you do get the dental allowance and vision and hearing, pretty nice little benefits on there. You start to run into over the counter stuff on their other plans. So I would definitely look at it because again, most of their plans, you don't have a premium and you don't have a drug deductible or a medical deductible. So you're running into, it's more of what you saw this year, on the plan, so I would definitely look at it. And their outpatient surgery on a lot of their plans are some of the lowest ones that are out there. So if you look at the outpatient surgery, $275, $275, even on the savings one, $350. Was it 2 already?
With Cigna, they've got their fitness benefits with Silver and Fit.
It is Silver Fit, yes.
So, like with Silver Sneakers, you can sign up for multiple gyms. Does Silver and Fit allow you to do the same thing?
Yeah, Silver and Fit's very similar to Silver Seekers. You can look at them, they run almost all the same on there. It's very similar. You can go to silverandfit.com and look at it.
I did that, but I didn't find it. You know what I mean? Though, like if somebody has Aetna right now, they
Right.
can sign up at Planet Fitness down the road here and the one over in Goose Creek. They don't care.
Right.
Will Silver and Fit
Yeah,
allow you
Silver
to do
and
the same
Fit
thing?
runs the same way too, they don't care.
Okay.
It's just a different way of running. A lot of carriers now, Silver and Fit was with Silver Sneakers very similar. Then United Healthcare has their own now. They run their own. So, but Silver Sneakers is on most of Aetna, Humana, Devoted, and Clover all run Silver Sneakers.
Clover Silver Sneakers?
Yes. Again, there is a $200 deductible on the medical, on the PPO, if you don't do the plus. The only difference is on that plan is a little richer on the dental benefit, than in vision benefits that you would be on the zero premium plan. Clover is simple, they have two plans. One with drugs, one without drugs. So if you like Clover and somebody is a veteran, then you're gonna do the power plan. If not, you can do a regular plan. Both of those plans have a Part B give back. This PPO is also gonna be our lowest specialist copay that is out there, at $10. It is a pretty rich plan. You get $20 back, zero premium, zero deductible.
Up to $295 on outpatient surgery.
Yep, $295 outpatient surgery. Pretty nicely, even in the inpatient hospital, $375 for 5 days. You're still below $2,000. So, their benefits are pretty strong.
What is one pass for them? What is that? Their version or something?
I think the one.
That's the dental.
Oh, they're dental?
Yeah. They do use Silver Sneakers. Their dental is done through DentaQuest, and their vision is also done through Vision Quest.
I believe, and I'd have to look into this, I believe one pass is their gym membership.
I think you're right about that. It's not Silver Sneakers, it's one patch, yes.
Say that again?
One pass is Clover's gym membership.
They also give you over the counter. They do it pretty strong over the counter, $75 on a regular plan. It is a pretty good overall plan. Again, if you have somebody that really single out specialist, needs to keep a low specialist copay, $10, give you $20 back over the counter. Pretty darn good plan.
Guys, I did run into, so it has Orangeburg and Calhoun, and I had some clients up in that area, and we looked at this plan. Prisma is not in network with Clover. So that's one of the hospitals that I've noticed is not in network, and I believe Lexington Medical Facility is also not in network. Other than that, I know around here, mostly everyone, we are trying to get confirmed 100%, but it does also look like they take,
Southeastern Spine.
Southeastern Spine Institute.
Really? Are they the only one?
No,
Blue Cross.
Aetna,
Aetna's only on the surgeon work.
United Healthcare. No?
Blue Cross is the only
Okay.
one. Devoted. You guys always learn about Devoted, so I think you know Devoted pretty well. Overall, zero premium on most of the plans except for the premium plan, which I honestly agree. I don't know why we would write that plan.
Which one?
The very last one. Probably didn't even need to have it on there. There's really no reason to have it. It was supposed to be for an LAS plan. There's nothing really great about it, the reason to have it. But the devoted plan, again, it's gonna be, the PPO and HMO very rich. HMO gives you more on the dental and vision than on the PPO. The dental and vision, this is the one that's loaded on a MasterCard. So you can use it for dental or vision. So if you have the PPO plan at $1,500, you can use $1,000 for dental, $500 for vision. You can see any licensed provider, which is really good for that. It is pretty much, devoted, it's give me a little bit more fair bones on that. It's, again, their give back plan, I think, is the biggest one that's out there. So it does go for a pretty good story at $160, pays for most of that for you. They do get, I think the dental vision, they're looking at their benefits, it's mostly a Roper plan. They will bill MUSC out of network, it does pay. They don't yet have Palmetto Primary Care in network. So if somebody's looking for Palmetto Primary Care in network, it is out of network. But again, their out of network does not have an upcharge on it. In network and out of network is pretty much the same copay. So
But I think that devoted give back, I think you should look at that. I've run a couple scenarios with my clients and it didn't come all the way at the top. But if you scroll down, if they're having to pay maybe $20 a year more, $30 a year more for their medication and get back $157 a month, I think that would, if you explain that to your client, I think anybody would take $157 for 12 months straight versus $20 to $30 a year increase on the prescriptions. That could free up some money for a GTO and a precision care.
That's exactly what I did for my reported numbers.
So you're looking for a client that maybe is only on generic medication because they do have that deductible on the tiers 3 and above, but only on generic medication. I take a really good look at that devoted to see if you could free money up to make sure you cover the whole entire thing.
you also didn't have it on here, but on the PPO plan, they also get a food over the counter card monthly. You do have on the HMO.
Yeah, it's the same as regional, right? $77 a month.
That's on the HMO, it's $77, and I think it's $57 on the PPO. So you wanna check this book, you'll see it when you get on the Medicare Center too. But you wanna make that note and change on there.
That's on the one, the one without the give back.
Yes,
one that-
correct, the first one.
The one that doesn't have anything on it.
Yeah, the first one, the choice PPO.
57.
I think it's 57. Double check it, make sure,
Where's your books in your office?
no.
And with devoted, you saying it doesn't, they're out of network or Palmetto Primary, is there another, hospital that they have issues with, which other one can you recall?
What was that,
MUSC.
sorry?
Oh, MUSC, okay,
It's just not in network, but they will pay.
okay.
Or MUSC will bill them.
Out of network.
Yeah.
Max out of pocket with that is 10,000 now.
So Humana,
Hmm?
Out of pocket's 10,000 if you're going out of network.
Humana, I'm not gonna spend a lot of time, so we're gonna kinda wrap up. Before I hit 2 minutes phone calls for like 2 o'clock. The big change on Humana this year is you are gonna have deductibles on every single one for medications. So you will find out if that's gonna cause an issue or not. But you wanna be careful of that, is that you will have a deductible on all of your medications on every single plan. It's either gonna be $350 or $450. So you wanna make sure that the clients that are in the Humana, anything tier 3 and higher is gonna go towards a deductible on most of the plans. The give back plan does have that $500 deductible still. So you wanna be careful of that a little bit. Not saying you can't write them, I still have a lot of people in the Humana plan. Some of my Humana plans wanna keep it, they're pretty happy with it. But I think if you're looking at new people, you're gonna kinda run into that, I'm finding out that deductible on medications a bit. It is, they don't have much in Beaufort area, but they are in Sumter. So if you're looking for a United Healthcare replacement up there, Aetna and Humana will be in that area.
Guys, going back to devoted, the 001 plan, $67 a month in food card.
Or OTC?
Or OTC.
Yeah, well, it's the same thing.
Or utilities, just like the rest of them.
Yeah. They're just missing on there.
As far as, chronic plans, as far as chronic plans, we didn't have that on the front cheat sheet. United Healthcare is still pretty much strongest as far as chronic.
Well, we're gonna go there.
Yeah, in a second.
Shows up.
All right, now you go do that real quick. Get a second first, so that they fall asleep.
Do what?
You know how to do this.
Alright, United Healthcare.
Bush.
I think everybody understands United Healthcare pretty much pulled out of Sumter County, right?
Right.
Guys, one thing I wanna go back on with the Humana thing real quick before we go to United Healthcare. We all realize MUSC is not going to accept Humana, right?
Right.
PPO or not. They have a billing issue with Humana, they're not going to be willing to bill it.
They're also not currently negotiating, so don't plan on it for next year.
So if you, I know in and out of network benefits, I wouldn't bank on MUSC billing Humana. There's a few of these United Healthcare, plans I think that kind of stand out, and one being that chronic. They've got two chronic plans. I actually like both of them. How many of you guys had the Humana 280 plan, the LIS, where they got the $50 food card, you know, if they had an illness, which was like blood pressure, right?
Yep.
They loved it. It kind of got chopped to pieces, right? The 076 on that first, the PPO United Healthcare, right at the end over here. I think it's better than what Humana was offering. To be completely honest with you. Zero, no premium as long as they have LAS. LAS will take care of the $590 deductible on your prescription drugs, right? And they're getting a $141 a month food card. I believe that's the highest I've seen. You do not want to put somebody on this plan that does not have LIS. For the simple fact of, there's a $590 deductible and 25% of the cost of the medication. There's no tiers, it's 25% of the cost. If you have somebody that's not on LIS, I also like that 060, the one right beside it right here. Still giving an $84 a month food card, 0 and 30 at the specialist, $0 deductibles on 1 and 2, and only $340 on 3 and 5. Still getting transportation with each one of those. The LAS one has $3,000 in dental. Non-LAS is going to be $1,000.
So does anybody have to go back and replace their current chronic plans? If they are in the chronic plan right
Is their
now.
ID number H2001-076? If not, then yes.
No, the 060. So if they're in the current United Healthcare chronic plan, like chronic special needs plan,
Is it going to get migrated?
is that getting migrated, or do we have to go back and see every one of those?
They've had a transition over.
I mean, they're all new plan numbers.
They're all new plan numbers, and if they
Right.
didn't change the plan number, then I think,
But
you've
that's
got
what
to
I mean,
change it.
they did change the plan number, I don't see the chronic with the old number, so do
Well,
we?
I think this is just the cheat sheet for this year. You have all the legacy plans on there too?
There was 4 that she put on. Right here, there.
So that's a yes, that we do have to replace the product?
We're figuring it out.
We'll confirm and send that out in an email.
I got a lot of those.
Better to be safe than sorry.
Yeah.
They do have the MA Patriot, guys, that's giving the 125 back. Personally, I feel that there's other MA carriers probably doing a little bit better than that. Scott's gone over quite a few of those already. And then there's the legacy plans. We simply put those legacy plans on there, guys, or Cheryl put those legacy plans on there so that you can compare benefits. I don't really feel like anybody should be enrolled in any of these. Scott?
No.
Huh?
They discontinued the GS 0001, that's just ridiculous.
I know.
Right?
They discontinued all these other great plans, they leave that.
I will, the real chronic one, United Healthcare.
Gold RX is what they.
The chronic complete care is what it's called.
Yeah, chronic complete care.
He wants to know what the twenty twenty-four one was.
001.
Does anybody have their current twenty
The
twenty-four EMA one?
LO2 will go over to the, see, it's got the same plan ID as the LO2.
That was, 057 before.
Yes, that's what I want to see. Scott?
And 057 is gonna go to 26, so 057 is going to 060.
060-057-2060. That's the one. Yes, so your non-LIS, yes, that one's gonna get migrated to the new code is 060.
That's the new code for chronic, so you don't have to.
So is that the non-LAS chronic?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, the one that had no premium.
Yeah, because the other one is a new plan.
Yes. Now, the LIS one is a new plan, so nobody will get migrated over into that one.
So we're getting
So if you.
That's the 076 is what I'm talking about. That's a new plan. Nobody's gonna get migrated into that one.
I like that.
So the existing chronic plan 057 is getting moved over to 060.
So we don't have to replace.
Correct, but if one of those plans has LIS, I would move them over to 076.
So if you have some of your chronic plans, you gotta check in to see if they're an extra help.
Or any of your 280 with Humana.
Was there a deductible last year? You have that chart right in front of you. On the chronic plan, was there a deductible on tier 3?
He has it.
Was there a deductible on tier 3? Yeah, so there was 0 deductible last year, so if that does migrate, they will have deductible this year on tier 3. That's a conversation to have.
So last year, the chronic complete plan with United Healthcare had no deductible on tier 3 and above. When it migrates over to this new plan, which is going to be this one, it's going to have a deductible on tier 3 and up. So you may still want to revisit that and maybe look at something that doesn't have a deductible if it's going to make a big difference. Do you see what I'm saying? And then if they're LIS, you obviously move them over to that one right beside it.
And that's a good point. On your Humana 280s, you may want to find out, you know, these are all LIS people. You see if they have a chronic condition, and that may be a good fit. I think what I found is on their regular plans, if you're looking at United Healthcare PPO, the PPO 3 has been one that I think has been across the board the safest bet so far.
Which one's that?
The regular PPO.
Is that the essentials?
No,
Right here. Yep.
yeah, right there.
092. Still on that front page of United Healthcare. Second column over. 092. That's a good plan.
It's one of the better PPOs.
It's one of the better PPOs. It's got a $255 deductible on tiers 3 and 5. That's one of the lowest ones I've seen.
And they get $3 back.
You get $3 back.
And they're gonna get $3 back.
Now, if somebody does want more vision, over the counter, things like that, the one next to it, the extras, has a little bit more of that.
The traditional PPO one with United Healthcare is migrating into the essential plan.
There you go.
It says that $155 for healthy awards.
So you know how like, is that like when they go to the doctor, they have their wellness, they'll get a Visa card if they go and have their annual wellness check, if they'll, so they can earn dollars back.
You have a flu shot.
If you get your flu shot, yes, yes. And then your favorite.
Everybody has bills already.
I think $75 over the counter for that extras.
And then for those of you that did get licensed, we have WellCare.
Yeah, we'll say something.
We all feel the same way.
It's gonna be the same conversation that we had about Humana. They do have deductibles on all their prescription drug plans. They do have a lower max out-of-pocket plan at $41.50 also. So if you're looking at another max out-of-pocket plan, that's gonna be the one you would write. But beyond that, I don't know. Unless somebody really likes WellCare, I don't know if you're gonna write a whole bunch of it. But I'll let you kinda go through and see if it's gonna be benefits that you're gonna wanna do. I don't have a lot of. How's it? And then, I think this was the best page that they did. So, they have QR codes to be able to look up all your providers. I think it's very helpful when you're in a house. You have a nice, quick, easy way of looking up, see if somebody's in the network.
For each of those, you know how some of those pages will allow the consumer to just go on a website without having to log in. Will we have to log in on these
There's
pages?
no logins on any of these.
Good.
It takes you directly to it, you put the name in, search for it, get a search report.
Nice.
No login required.
A nice, quick, easy way. I do
Hey,
like
and the other thing that you can do is you do it on your phone. Hey, if you need to see a doctor, share it over to your client, text it, it'll come over as a link. They can look it
Even
up
on a
themselves.
flip phone.
But it's quick and easy. If you're there and you need to find out, oh, I've got this with this one doctor, you can quickly just do a quick look up.
The Medicare Center is still being uploaded, guys. They're working on it. They're hoping to have everything fixed by the 15th. I know as I'm trying to figure out plans for clients, some doctors aren't showing up. Sometimes they're listed a little bit funny. I'm using that as a second resource while I'm in the house. It may not be coming up in Medicare Center, but I'll go directly there and look it up. And it's popping up.
So use whatever part of the Integrity Medicare Center works for you. I know I've still been using a lot more of my Medicare link. I know they're still working on the Integrity side. So if you use the app before or the link, use whatever's the best thing for you to use.
Did we get an answer on whether or not those contacts are gonna migrate to?
Yes, that's a good question. The contacts are all gonna migrate. But they don't think it's gonna be all of them until next year. Remember I told you a couple weeks ago that some of mine were already showing up?
Yeah.
They said it's as per carrier. Some carriers were quicker to get it in there to migrate over than other carriers.
Migrating from where?
So like the Medicare link to the Integrity app front of
To
it.
the link.
Now, I
Yes.
will, like I did show you the other week, I am using the Integrity side for the scope of appointments. It is the easiest scope to send out. I text it to my client. You can text it right there in the house for going back and enrolling them next week. And you text it to them, they accept it and send it, and that's it.
Yeah, you just can't complete it for 48 hours now.
Right. But right now, you can't do an enrollment until next week.
They're waiting for me to set the appointments.
But right now, you can't do the enrollment until next week, so it's the perfect time.
If Robbie can use it anyway.
Yes.
So what can I talk about in the house besides Medicare Advantage?
But you can definitely talk about hospital indemnity.
Anything health related.
Right, so if Mrs. or
Hospital
Mrs. Jones
indemnity.
look at the sheet that you show them, and it says life insurance, and they go, oh, I need life insurance, can you talk about it then?
Great. I'll see you next time you're in the area. I'll see you on the 8th of December. I'll see you in January.
Just the other day, somebody said as long as they bring it up, you can do it.
No,
I wouldn't be changing it.
no.
I didn't think so.
Yes.
That is a great go back.
Life insurance.
I thought you could if they insist.
No, you don't. You just can't write it the same day you run Medicare Advantage.
Alright, whatever. I know the rules.
That's why I said you can do it the next time you're gonna be in the area, December 8th,
Right.
the New Year, whatever, just not the same time you're doing the actual Medicare Advantage.
No, what I tell all my clients every time they bring it back up with something else, say, I'm here today to take care of this for you. I wanna make sure that we have a clear head, that we understand what we are doing today. And I'm gonna come back in whatever time frame you decide, and we can work on that. I don't like doing more than one or two pieces of business in the house. I think it gets confusing if you do that. So you wanna take care of the reason you were there, which is the Medicare Advantage, hospital indemnity, cancer, whatever's gonna go along with the Medicare Advantage. Once gets fixed, finished, and you go back, then it's time to go back and do everything else. But if you do 3 or 4 pieces of business in the house anyway, it's not gonna become a client, it's gonna end up being canceled. Because they're not gonna understand what the heck they got. Or a complaint, one of the two. I don't like complaints, they all come to my desk.
Because you can do hospital indemnity, you can do dental and vision, you can do cancer policies,
Anything else?
anything that's gonna be health related.
And if they're getting $160 on the give back, you could mention final expense or long-term care, or whatever else, and just say, well, we'll talk about that separate, let's go and reduce your Part B premium first.
But you can't do a home health care.
But Matt did bring up a good point, he didn't even know he did it yet. If you do sign somebody up for a give back plan, like on one of those, it does take at least 60 days to show up. So if you're writing one of those in November, December, that may not show up in the January, of their Social Security, they do take about 60 days to show up on their Social Security. So, it's not a separate check, it's on their Social Security.
And they'll just get back.
Okay, well, it might be, they all could be different, but I just let people know, hey, it may take up to 60 days for it to go into Social Security. You're dealing with an insurance company, it's gonna deal with the government. Both of them are very slow.
That's an important point to make with your clients because you do not want to get 10, 15, 20 calls in January saying, my social security check didn't change, what the heck? Like if you preempt that question beforehand, telling you that it's going to take a little while, you're going to eliminate the pissed off phone calls in January. Because you got to remember, during the open enrollment season, they get pissed off at you and they don't call you and they just switch that plan, you just lost the client.
Also, I've ran into it 3 times this year. If they have a tax lien with the federal government, they do not get a give back. The federal government will take that give back and go towards the tax lien.
Oh.
There's a separate problem there, Fran.
They're gonna have a lien against them.
That's
And her car's
Whoopsies.
pretty well.
Because trust me, they were calling looking for their money and it wasn't there. And I made calls to vote in Humana and we finally uncovered it was the tax lien.
IRS.
Alright, I suggest going through the booklets, playing with the Medicare Center, going, over the first few appointments, you're gonna start to see which plans really